All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something absolutely crucial for your long-term health: insulin sensitivity. We're going to break down what it is, why it matters so much, and then get into some really powerful, totally natural ways you can improve it. So let's get to it. First things first, to really get this, we've got to meet the main character in our story. It's a hormone you've definitely heard of, but you might not realize just how critical its job is. Let's talk about insulin. I want you to think of insulin as the master key for your body. So you eat a meal, and the sugar from that food, we call it glucose, enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas then sends out this key, insulin. Its job is to go around to all your cells, pop into the lock, and open the door so that glucose can get inside and be used for fuel. It's a brilliant system, right? At least when everything's running smoothly. Okay, this really paints the picture, doesn't it? On one side, you have healthy, sensitive cells. The lock is clean, the key slides in, turns perfectly, that's the goal. But on the other side, you've got resistant cells. Imagine that same lock, but now it's all gummed up and sticky. The key is still there, but it struggles to fit, it can't turn the lock easily. That right there is insulin resistance. So what's the big deal if those locks stay sticky? Well, if the sugar can't get into the cells, it has nowhere else to go. It just stays in your bloodstream, building up. And this is a huge deal. Over time, that high blood sugar dramatically raises your risk for things like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, and it can even lead to serious damage to your nerves and organs down the line. So that leads us to the big question, right? How do we get in there and clean up those sticky locks? How do we make that master key work the way it's supposed to again? Well, the good news is there are some incredibly effective natural things we can do. All right, let's get into the game plan. And, before we even start talking about what's on your plate, we have to build the foundation. This is the bedrock of your metabolic health. And it all kicks off with something you might not expect: sleep. This is wild, but even a single night of bad sleep can make your cells more resistant to insulin the very next day. So aiming for that sweet spot of 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep isn't a luxury, it's an absolute must for your metabolism. Next up, let's talk about movement, which is honestly one of our superpowers here. The great thing about exercise is you get a 2-for-1 deal. First, you get an immediate boost. Just one workout can make your cells more sensitive to insulin for hours. And second, you get the long-term gains. When you exercise consistently, you build more muscle, and muscle acts like a big sponge or storage tank for glucose, which takes a ton of pressure off your system. Now, let's talk about the silent saboteur: chronic stress. When you're stressed all the time, your body goes into fight or flight mode and pumps out stress hormones like cortisol. The job of cortisol is to raise your blood sugar to give you quick energy to, run from a tiger. But when your stress is an email inbox or traffic, that sugar just hangs around in your blood, totally messing with what insulin is trying to do. So, you've got to have a plan to manage that stress. And look, it's not about getting rid of stress completely, that's impossible. It's about having a toolkit to handle it. A few minutes of deep breathing, some meditation, a walk outside, these things actively lower those stress hormones and help your insulin do its job better. Okay, I want you to burn this number into your brain: 5 to 7%. That's it. Research is incredibly clear that if you are carrying extra weight, losing just 5 to 7% of your body weight can have a massive, dramatic impact on improving your insulin sensitivity. That's not a huge, scary number, right? It just goes to show you that even small, totally achievable changes can lead to huge results. Okay, so we've got our foundational habits locked in. Now let's move on to that second huge piece of the puzzle: what we're putting on our plates. Let's power up your diet. When it comes to your diet, we're going to zero in on a few key players: loading up on soluble fiber, eating a rainbow of colorful foods, using some amazing spices, and even sipping on a specific kind of tea. First up, soluble fiber. This stuff is amazing. You find it in foods like oatmeal, beans, apples, and avocados. Think of it like this: it creates this gel in your stomach that literally slows down how fast sugar gets absorbed into your blood. That means you avoid those big, sharp blood sugar spikes that cause so many problems. It's like a built-in buffer. Next up, think color. Seriously, eating the rainbow isn't just a cute saying. All those different colors in fruits and vegetables come from powerful compounds called antioxidants. Their job is to fight inflammation in your body. And since we know that chronic inflammation is a major cause of insulin resistance, this is one of the tastiest ways to fight back. And hey, don't sleep on your spice rack. Some of those everyday spices are like secret weapons for your health. Cinnamon might actually help your cells respond better to insulin. Turmeric is famous for curcumin, a super potent anti-inflammatory. And even things like ginger and garlic are showing really great promise. Sprinkling these on your food is such an easy win. All right, here's a super simple, powerful swap you can make. Next time you're about to grab a soda or a sugary juice, try brewing a cup of green tea instead. It's packed with a specific antioxidant called EGCG, and study after study has shown that it can significantly improve insulin sensitivity. Now, of course, a big part of eating better is also knowing what to dial back on. The biggest offenders here are added sugars, especially the stuff in sugary drinks and processed snacks, and those nasty artificial trans fats you find in a lot of fried and baked goods. These things are basically fuel for inflammation and insulin resistance. So as we start to pull all these pieces together, I really want you to see this not as some strict, miserable diet, but as a clear path forward, a path that's built on making small, smart choices, one after another. And really, it all boils down to these two core pillars. On one side, you've got your foundational lifestyle habits, your sleep, your movement, your stress management. And on the other, you've got your smart food choices. You can't just focus on one. You need both to build a really strong, stable foundation for your health. And if there's one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about making small, consistent, and intelligent choices day in and day out. Each one of those choices builds on the last. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge, just for you to think about. After hearing all this, what's just one small choice you're going to make today? Maybe it's taking a 10-minute walk after lunch, or maybe it's swapping that afternoon soda for green tea. That one small choice, that's where it all begins. And finally, just a quick reminder that all of this information is for educational purposes. It's so important that you always talk to a qualified healthcare provider for any personal medical advice before you make big changes to your diet or lifestyle.